Members of the commission may or may not have questions for staff at that time. Then we'll ask the applicant to come forward and present the application and answer any questions that the members of the commission may have. Then we will open the public hearing. So anyone that wishes to speak regarding the application can come forward and speak regarding the application. If you are going to speak, we ask you to fill out one of these cards right here at the end of the table. This way we get your name, address, et cetera, correct in our records. Okay. One thing with the public hearing, you're limited to 3 minutes. You must speak to us, not to the crowd or the applicant or the staff. Once things become repetitive, I will remind people that if you're going to talk about traffic or lack of a stop sign, et cetera, once we've heard that more than once, we don't need to hear it 5 or 6 times. So once it gets repetitive, we'll ask someone if you have anything new to speak. Once we have closed the public hearing, we'll take no more comments from the public. We will ask the applicant to come back and answer any questions that may have arose out of the public hearing. And then at that time, the commission will consider the application and we will vote. So that's pretty much our procedure, the way these meetings are run. The first item on our agenda is a zoning map amendment request located at 4055 Towers Road. Application is RZ 23-16. The property owners are Paul W. and Dorothy S. Bierman, Revocable Living Trust. Applicant is Tower Roads Associates, LLC. The current zoning district is R1E, single-family residential, and R1A, single-family residential. Proposed zoning district is R1A, single-family residential. The 2030 master plan recommends low-density residential. The rezoning area consists of 3.88 acres. The location is 4055 Towers Road, located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Jacob Station Road and Towers Road near the city of Weldon Spring. This is located in Council District 7. Staff.
Good evening, all. Like you said, sir, location is 4055 Towers Road, located southeast corner of Jacob Station Road and Towers Road near the city of Weldon Spring. The current land use on the parcel now is primarily agricultural, and there's an existing single-family residence that has been there since 1963. Public services, Francis Hall School District, Cottleville Fire Protection District, and the utilities that serve this parcel are the Missouri American Water Company and the Duckett Creek Sanitary District. The applicant is requesting, as you said, to rezone the parcel from R1E and R1A to R1A for a consistent zoning of the whole parcel in order to allow for platting of a 3-lot subdivision, which is on the next application to be heard tonight. The adjacent land uses to this parcel are mostly single-family residential, with the Reserve at Lakeview Farm subdivision to the north. To the south, the Princeton Place subdivision. There's a cemetery and mausoleum to the west, and 2 single-family dwellings to the east, and there's also a water storage tank on one of those parcels to the east. The future land use map and the master plan recommends low-density residential land use for this parcel, where the master plan states the primary land use with this category is residential. The proposed R1A single-family residential district zoning that's proposed is consistent with the surrounding zoning in the area, and staff sees no negative land use impacts to the neighboring parcels, and it is consistent with the master plan. Ultimately, staff recommends approval of this application.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant to come forward. Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or in the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Charles Wardle. I'm with Bax Engineering. My address is 221 Point West Boulevard, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Thank you, staff, for doing such a good job presenting this. I'm actually here just answering any questions about rezoning this property. Currently, it's a 3-acre. It is just divided into 2 zonings, and we just want to make it into 1 zoning so we can plat the 3 single-family homes on it.
Any questions for the applicant? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We will now open the public hearing for application RZ 23-16, which is a zoning map amendment request located at 4055 Towers Road. Anyone wishing to speak? Arnie's got shorts on. Arnie, don't you know it's cold out?
Hey, it's warm compared to yesterday.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings on the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate, mailing address P.O. Box 1535, O'Fallon. First of all, this is a pretty straightforward application. I like this application because it doesn't have any density issues. If you look at the surrounding uses and the surrounding neighborhoods, it has much higher density uses in the surrounding neighborhoods. This is a simple 3-lot subdivision. The rezoning that they're asking for is something that is acceptable, it's livable, it's in compliance, in conformance with the 2030 County Master Plan, and I would recommend unanimous approval to the County Council of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding this application? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing for application RZ 23-16, bring it back to the commission for consideration. Anyone have any questions for the applicant? Seeing none, any questions for staff? Hearing none, so the chair will entertain a motion to approve application RZ 23-16, which is a zoning map amendment request located at 4055 Towers Road. Is there a motion?
Motion. Second.
Motion, Ms. Bamer made the motion, Jeanette made the second. Mr. Shell, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Ms. Bamer?
Yes.
Mr. Cornwell?
Yes.
Ms. Kirchner?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Okay, that passes. The next item on our agenda is a preliminary plat for Tower Summit subdivision, 4055 Towers Road. Application number is PRE 23-12. The property owner is Paul W. and Dorothy S. Bierman Revocable Living Trust. The developer is Towers Road Associates LLC. The engineer is Bax Engineering. The plot area is 3.679 acres. Proposed lots are 3. Location is at 4055 Towers Road, located at the southeast corner of the intersection of Jacob Station Road and Towers Road near the city of Weldon Spring. This is located in Council District 7. Staff.
Yes, sir. So this parcel is the parcel that is being rezoned from the prior application. So the location remains the same, the current land use remains the same, adjacent land uses and the zoning the same. Public services remain the same, and utilities still served by Missouri American Water Company and Duckett Creek Sanitary District. The applicant requests approval of the preliminary plat, which is titled Tower Summit, 3-lot, 3.8-acre subdivision, and like I said, paired with the rezoning application per prior RZ 23-16. And this proposed development aligns with and presents no negative impacts to the land uses surrounding, and it fits into the current zoning and along with those land uses there. And with the proposed R1A zoning, if approved by council, it will be a minimum 1-acre lots, of which Tower Summit plat showcases. This plat is must seek a variance due to varying from the subdivision regulations that requires all lots in a subdivided plat, taking access from an internal subdivision street, of which this plat does not show. So the applicant is requesting access from 2 driveways onto Towers Road, of which administratively Highway and Development Review see no issues at this time. Administratively as well, county is requesting additionally with this plat, some additional right-of-way on the west side of Jacob Station Road for a future pedestrian shared path. County staff recommends approval of this plat.
Any questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant to come forward. We have to do this again, it's a different application.
Yes, sir.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or under the pains and penalties of perjury?
Yes, sir.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Charles Wardle, 221 Point West Boulevard, St. Charles, Missouri, 63301.
Go ahead, Charles.
Yes, we are looking to plat this into 3 1-acre lot subdivision with access from Towers Road as well as Jacob Station Road. We talked to the St. Charles County Highway Department. They have no problem with us having 2 driveways going out onto Towers Road, as long as Lot 2 was directly across, this driveway was directly across from the house on the north side of Towers Road. So when we go to the plotting development of this, we will ensure that the driveway of that lot will meet up with that one, so they are directly across from each other. If you notice, Lot 1 is a little bit larger than the other 3 lots because there is actually a, make sure I get the right number, a 35-foot front yard along the north and west side, because that fronts up to 2 different roads. We have 2 front yard setbacks. But administratively, from the county, they wanted all 3 of the buildable areas to be the same. So all 3 of the buildable areas for all 3 lots are the same. So that's why Lot 1 is a little bit bigger. Sewers will be served from the south. We are actually going to extend the sewer line along the southern part of the property, so laterals will run down the property line to the back and not through the middle of the yard, so they actually can build pools or swing sets or any other amendments they would have put on their property. She didn't take your warning very well, did she?
Alarm. My ringer was actually off.
Remember that whole turn everything on silent?
Time to take dinner out of the oven.
I'm here to answer any questions.
So Lot 1 will, the ingress egress will be on Jacob Station?
Yes, sir.
And I assume the building that's there would eventually be torn down?
As of right now, yes, it will be torn down.
And then Lot 2 and 3 will go out onto Towers?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much.
We will now open the public hearing for PRE 23-12, which is the preliminary plat for Towers Summit subdivision located at 4055 Towers Road. Anyone wishing to speak? You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or under the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much, members of the commission. Mr. Chairman, my name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate, mailing address P.O. Box 1535, O'Fallon. Towers Road has a lot of growing demands of subdivisions, and so that is a number 1 priority. We need to look at plans of expanding Towers Road, at least providing a turning lane or maybe moving Towers Road into 4 lanes and making safety improvements for a possible shoulder and other amenities. Right now with these parcels, these 3 proposed parcels, instead of having 2 access points onto Towers Road, I would ask the commission to consider a condition of the applicant providing some type of frontage service road for this 3-lot subdivision and limiting the access to 1 access onto Towers Road. When it comes to the right-of-way for the pedestrian and shared path, I would ask that it be at no cost to taxpayers of St. Charles County and no cost to the road board or to our Department of Highways and Transportation. Those are my comments, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak regarding application PRE 23-12? See one, no one, we'll close the public hearing. Ask, any questions for the applicant? No? Okay, we will. We will bring application PRE 23-12 back to the commission for consideration. This is a preliminary plat for Tower Summit subdivision located at 4055 Towers Road. Is there a motion to approve this application?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Cornwell. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Fromm makes the second. Ms. Kirschner, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Bamer?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Cornwell?
Yes.
Mr. Shell?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
Yes.
And I vote yes. That passes. The next item on our agenda is a preliminary plat for the re-subdivision of Lot 2 of LMC subdivision. Application is PRE 23-11. Property owner is Michael and Kara Daniel Revocable Trust. The developer is Gemini Infra LLC. Engineer is Sterling Engineering. The plot area is 5.18 acres. The proposed lots are 2. The location is on the northwest corner of Dualo Road and Highway N, adjacent to the city of Lake St. Louis and near the city of O'Fallon. This is located in Council District 2. Staff.
As you mentioned, this is a subdivision plat. It's not a rezoning. So the property's been zoned C2 General Commercial District since 2008. And in 2018, St. Charles County approved a plat for a commercial subdivision, 2 lots. So right now in the LMC subdivision, to the west of this, there is what's known as the Sports Barn, which is an indoors commercial sports facility, and also, as I remember, an office building. And the current proposal is to subdivide the 1 lot on the east, right at the northwest corner of Duello Road and Highway N, from 1 lot to 2. Anticipation of development with a convenience store and then a retail space to the rest of that. So again, proposed from 1 lot to 2. Subdividing from 1 lot to 2 is pretty standard, although access is interesting for this property because it's at the corner of Highway N, which is MoDOT jurisdiction, and Duello Road, which is county jurisdiction. So there's questions such as site distance. So the applicants have done a site distance study, and they're showing how far motorists can see up and down Duello Road and up and down Highway N. And so they have to meet certain requirements. MoDOT has a requirement, I think it's 610 feet each direction, and the county's requirement is around 400 and 440 feet from each direction. So they're proposing 2 driveways on a Duello Road. The south one will be right in, right out only. The north one would be 2 ways, as I understand it. The Sports Barn, that plat, actually, they applied for and received a variance not to have to build an internal subdivision street, and with the idea that this lot is really wide, but it's not very deep. So there's not really 2 tiers deep in order to build of lots or blocks in order to put in a subdivision street, to build a street. So instead, LMC subdivision, the Sports Barn, they got approval for a variance to allow a driveway to be built to public street standards, essentially. So that's how it was approved in 2018. Again, the current applicants are proposing the same, and the county's Development Review Division recommends approval for a variance under certain conditions, and those proposed conditions are contained in your staff report. But one of those conditions is that the street cross-sections meet the county standard for private streets, if I remember correctly. but then also more importantly, that there be cross-access easements between the two lots, allowing a circulation flow between the two lots and, from one street to the other. Just parenthetically, I don't know if you've ever been to a commercial, a business, and you need to go next door to that business next door, and there's no connection. You have to get out on the busy highway just to circle back to the one next door. Well, that cross-access easement is intended to address that, among other things. So it allows for an internal circulation that, sort of like what a street would. In terms of sanitary sewer service, this is served by the city of Wentzville. To make a long story short, the city of Wentzville, I think it was in the early 2000s, annexed around 110 acres, including Dove Meadows and subdivision to the north. And a judge, it was challenged in court. A judge nullified that annexation. It reverted back to the county after the city of Wentzville had issued all of these permits. I don't know, at least 100 different permits for all sorts of construction. And so that happened in the early 2000s. I guess the bottom line here is that the property is still served by the City of Wentzville's sanitary sewer service, and they've indicated simply that they need to apply for a permit through City of Wentzville and do whatever's necessary to make that happen. But presumably that's not going to trigger annexation because we've been through that before. In terms of, let's see, what was the other I was going to mention? Stormwater is interesting because as I mentioned, that larger development with Dove Meadows, there's a detention basin that was constructed in Dove Meadows, that residential subdivision just the north of it, north of this property, and that detention basin was designed and constructed to take the water from both that residential subdivision and this commercial property. So in terms of stormwater, that would be handled in the detention basin in Dove Meadows subdivision, but I would say that the developers are still going to have to get permission from the Dove Meadows Homeowner Association, do whatever is necessary to ensure they're satisfied, the Homeowner Association, with in order to make that connection. So that's something they'll have to work out potentially with the Homeowner Association. As I understand it, I haven't read the details of it, but there are agreements that were in place and recorded years ago to account for the stormwater runoff. Now, having said that, the stormwater would go into Dove Meadows, but the stormwater quality has to be addressed on this site. So the developers are going to have to install facilities that are going to essentially clean up the water before it leaves the site. So there's two different components of the stormwater. One's the quality of the stormwater, and the other is just the volume in terms of flooding. So both of those are to be addressed. I saw on the preliminary plat that there's a proposal to dedicate additional right-of-way for Highway N. This is the preferred corridor for this alignment of Highway N was identified by MoDOT through their study as the preferred corridor. So when Highway N widens, this preliminary plat is intended to meet the needs of that widening, to take into account. I mean, what we don't want to happen is we don't want any sort of widening to take someone's parking lot or their building or anything like that, and this plat is going to account for that and ensure that that doesn't happen. So other than the not providing an internal street, the plat meets the technical requirements of Chapter 410 of the Unified Development Ordinance. And should you choose to recommend approval with a variance, it would require county council approval. So your decision here, because there's a variance involved, it's a recommendation to the county council, and it would have to be approved or denied by the county council.
Any questions for staff?
I do. So Robert, who who's going to be responsible for making sure that the water quality that's run off of there is to standard? Or,
Community Development Department,
okay, so that's us.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, St. Charles County,
So it's not just them doing it,
right.
trying to have the audience understand, when they're,
Right, yes. Yeah, the county, was it 2 years ago now, adopted stormwater quality requirements. And it's flexible in some ways in terms of how it's achieved, but the standards are uniform.
okay.
And Robert, you said that the detention basin, the residential, has enough volume to handle this, or is that something you guys are analyzing right now with construction plans once they come in?
It's, it was designed and constructed to handle the post-construction development on this site as well.
So it took into account that much impervious surface
Yeah,
that they're
pavement.
showing?
Right.
Any other questions for staff? Hearing none, we'll ask the applicant to come forward. You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings on the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
For the record, my name is Mike Faulkner. I'm Vice President of Sterling Engineering. Offices at 5055 New Baumgartner, St. Louis, 63129. Thank you, Robert. You stole most of my presentation for tonight, but just go over this. We are, and I'll try to see if I can get up. Pull up a presentation material here.
I think they have to do something in the back, don't they, Robert? Yeah.
Did you
Yep.
have it preloaded?
Yeah, it's preloaded. It's popped up here, but it's not popping up on the main screen. Oop, there it goes. This is just a site rendering. It shows the aerial of the site. At the lower part is Highway N. To the right is Duello. How it runs up into the south is the Hopewell Road that goes on down to the south. To the west of the site, that's that barn facility that's just to the west of us. And what we're proposing to do is divide this piece into two sites. See if I can get to the next one. This rendering here shows the site. It shows what we're proposing to do, which was to have a C-stores on the the eastern side. It will be approximately 4,950 square foot. And it will have two access points. See if I can get this to work. It'll have two access points that we're proposing on Duello. Oop. I don't know how that changed.
On your clicker.
But what we're proposing to do is have two access points. They'll have a right-in, right-out at this location, and up here at this location we're proposing a bi-directional. And the reason for this is because of this intersection and what Highway Department State is doing with this intersection, future will be a signalized intersection. What we're going to do is to try and provide people that if they're wanting to go north, not to come out this access. This will allow people to come down here, run in through this back drive here, and then be able to go north on Duello. This access here will be only a right-in, right-out for these folks. And we will have, and we've shown on our preliminary plan, a cross-access easement that will run all the way through here, over to here. There'll also be that cross-access easement will run up along here. So that'll give everybody within these two properties availability to exit and to go north or to head west on Highway N. They can either head west coming out onto Duello or come out in this location here. This facility over here we're proposing is 16,000 square foot shopping retail shopping center, and it has sufficient parking that'll be located here. This parking that we have on the C-store is roughly about 64 parking spaces, so the county requires only 20. So that'll show you we've got plenty enough parking to handle any of the flow for that. See if I can get to the next. This exhibit here is just to show and also give you a better understanding of what Robert was saying is, this was the original plat, subdivision plat for the Dove Meadows. This is the whole frontage of Dove Meadows. So this was originally, in the very beginning of this development, was completely engineered, and this whole area up here in front, which is the commercial section, was designed to handle all the stormwater in this detention basin up there. And what we'll be doing when moving forward with this, if approved, working with staff as far as meeting the current criteria, there'll be water quality, any volume reduction that will be required based on current county requirements. So we'll be looking at implementing whatever's necessary on our site. And that'll be, working with staff. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. Again, this is Zone C2. It's already zoned. We're not asking for a rezoning. We're just asking for availability to put these two facilities on this 5.19 acres, and also asking for the variance since we really don't have any way to access it via subdivision street, because we'll have access out on the highway in and then access over onto Dwello Road.
Questions for the applicant?
So what's the distance between the back of that those parking spots on the back, and the subdivision behind it? What's the site distance and actual just?
See if You're talking about the distance from here?
Right, and the same thing with
back.
that drive too. I mean, the drive's gonna have some impact on the neighbors.
Yeah, I don't have that information, but I can get that for you.
So when would you get that for me? Because this is the meeting for today.
Quiet, sir, quiet. You'll get your time.
Then it's him saying that.
I don't actually have the exact dimensions of that back there, but I would say it's roughly about 75 feet.
Okay,
Is there any kind of buffer between the two, a fence, trees, anything to block light coming and going?
That, we'll be working with staff as far as what staff would be looking for, as what type of buffer. We'll have to adhere to the buffer requirements from a commercial versus a residential, so we'll have to adhere to the county's required buffer.
so Robert, could we put other requirements in here on this?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be addressed in the plat itself?
Just,
Just to back up for a second, so this is a subdivision plat. Honestly, it's not required to show
so
what
there's no preliminary,
improvements,
this is just a plat change
a
is what we're
a
talking
plat,
about.
the lots. But I
Right.
would say that whatever development goes here, it's got to provide what's called a type 2 landscape buffer along the backside.
Okay.
And as I recall, the sports barn had to do the same thing. But I must say, I remember the sports barn, it drops off pretty steeply in the back, and I believe it's the same for this part too as well. So anyone in the audience can correct me if I'm wrong, but as I recall, this is going to be above the residences a few feet.
Yeah, 'cause all we're doing is would be taking the one lot and dividing it into two. All those other issues, the buffers and this, all will be addressed when they bring a plat forward.
Yeah, for site plan review.
Well, this is a preliminary plat right now we're talking about on this one, right? Am I correct or not?
Yeah, this is a preliminary plat, so at the site plan stage, we'd look at
So
other
this is
site
going to
improvements
come
like
back
a.
before us with an actual,
The only thing we're
Plan.
voting on is one lot or two lots.
And the public improvements, for instance, the fact there's not going to be an internal subdivision street.
So for the
okay,
variance.
all right. Okay.
in- Right.
Okay.
But I would say at the site plan stage, that's when there are other improvements that address land use impacts with neighbors. And that site plan stage is not, it's not reviewed by the Planning and Zoning Commission, but it's very specific, cut and dried standards that have to be
Yeah.
met.
Okay.
That county staff would review it, an engineer would have to design it and meet all of the standards to a T in order to get approval.
When it looks like here, there's a proposed retaining wall on the plan, and they've got type 2 buffer already listed on there, so.
Okay.
But the problem is, we can't put additional requirements on them
Right.
when these things come before us, because it only goes to the
Staff.
To staff. So I want them to understand. Anyway,
You're going to probably get the question, and Robert mentioned it. Can you just talk, and I know it's not a vote on this today because it's just a plat, but could you talk us through the grading on what you have on this preliminary? I see you've got some grades identified and kind of where it sits with the retaining wall. Can you just describe that a little bit?
Yeah, what we're proposing here is a lot of the grading is going to be this drive that's going to be running down to the north. It's heading up to the Duello Road, which is our northern access, bidirectional access that we're proposing. Grading that in order to grade it in, right now what we have is there's a hillside that basically falls from, and you can see where the barn is. If you draw a line straight across over, that's about the top of the hill. And then it's just a terrace that goes straight down. It's roughly about 20 to 22 foot drop, that slope from where we are down to the single-family residence. So there's quite a bit of a hill there, and what we're doing is we're going to be cutting in that hill to traverse that drive from up at the upper part at the top to get it down to Duello Road. So, and that's the reason why we've got retaining walls located in there, because by doing that, and also that one parking area, see if I can get this to work, that parking area right in here, we've got a wall that'll be right in this location here, and that's in order for us to make this drive to come through there.
Any other questions for the applicant? Hearing none, we'll open the public hearing for PRE 23-11, which is a preliminary plat for the re-subdivision of Lot 2 of the LMC subdivision. I will tell everyone in the audience, the only thing we're considering tonight is dividing this lot, the 5.18 acres, into two lots. What eventually would end up there, how the roads are, drainage, all those issues would be discussed at a later date. So, anyone wishing to speak regarding this application?
I would like to address some of the yep.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Julie Vielbaum, 312 Knowledge Drive, Lake St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay, go ahead, Julie.
I would like to address some of the comments made here tonight. I am the HOA board trustee for Dove Meadows, and tonight they mentioned that they would need written permission to use our private residential draining system. We have no intention of providing that approval. And any waivers attempted to be given to them, we will use all of our resources to challenge that. They also stated that the drainage system on those two lots that you guys are proposing to divide, that we were ready to receive any capacity for any new builds or considerations. We are currently able to handle all of the water flow for empty lots. There's no way that we could see into the future and know what or who would buy the lots and what they would plan to build. So it's unreasonable to think that we would actually be prepared for a multitude of scenarios. We were prepared for empty lots.
So Julie, you were prepared for an empty lot on this lot here? Is that the only
The
thing?
current drainage that we can handle is for empty lots.
Yeah, but you can't expect the home, or a person that owns this, regardless of what we do here today, they can build on it right now.
We can't
They could build on it, but they are not entitled to access private property without our permission, and we do not intend to give it for a gas station.
Well, Julie, they're not going to be actually accessing your property, they're going to be draining onto it, and that's already
Right, but
happening.
we have to maintain those drainage systems.
you have to work with them
We have
on
to
that.
collect money
Yes.
from 203 different homes and families.
Sure.
In order to maintain that.
Right, so you're gonna have to
And
get
we
it
are
from them,
not
too.
going to entertain access to our private property for a gas station. We are simply not going to do it.
So what would you approve there then? What would you be willing to approve there?
Small businesses that are able to have landscaping and an outwardly appearance that reflects a residential community and doesn't conflict with it.
Okay.
We are willing and prepared to welcome those types of commercial builds. What we are not willing to do is we are not willing to welcome a gas station that's going to tower over our entire neighborhood and depreciate the value of all of our homes.
Okay,
Okay?
sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
Hi, my name is Sarah Tip,
You solemnly swear or affirm that you will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings or in the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Sarah Tipton. I live at 31 Wisdom Court for the last 5 years, and as a concerned resident of Dove Meadows subdivision, I have questions. How many opportunities will we have to weigh in with planning and zoning on this proposal?
Tonight.
That's what I thought. That's why we're here in force.
On the lot split,
On the
not
lot.
the drives, the grading, everything else is gonna come back.
Okay, so there could be more opportunities for
Yes.
that? Okay. What all will be necessary for?
Robert, is that the case?
It doesn't come back to us, though.
It's
The
reviewed by
the plan
staff.
for the development does, isn't it?
The subdivision plat, is at the Planning and Zoning Commission, and you would recommend denial or approval to the county council, so there would be a second opportunity of the county
Okay.
council to review.
Oh, at the
Okay.
council, okay.
And what all will be necessary for approval by the planning?
Yes,
For
yes, yes.
planning and zoning, and I guess that's some of what we're talking about. So I'm speaking tonight in opposition of the proposal of a convenience store with a canopied fueling island at the northwest corner of Duello and Highway N due to the light pollution and aesthetics. This is a single-family home residential neighborhood.
What is that a picture of?
This is a Photoshop by my 20-year-old college kid. This is a photo I took from my backyard 2 nights ago
Yeah.
when we found out about this. And we Photoshopped in, using the drawings, which we have reviewed 32 pages of. This is a single-family home residential neighborhood.
You did a good job.
Something that you may not be able to immediately discern from the 32 pages that you received is that the project site is on an elevation, as he stated. This is about 20 feet above the residential land below. So a fuel island canopy of about 15 feet on average. Such a structure would tower 30 to 35 feet above the homes below, penetrating Dove Meadows families' homes, backyards, neighborhoods, or patios, pools, a vast distance across our subdivision, which is 203 homes. The proposal states a buffer would be placed, but would it be constructed the necessary 40 feet high to block the light? And if so, wouldn't that giant wall be an eyesore to our residents? We all know that LED lights are even brighter than in the past, filling the night sky we enjoy with excessive light pollution, blotting out the stars and the constellations. We photoshopped this gas station into this image for illustrative purposes, but here you can still see the stars, but you won't see Orion the Hunter in our neighborhood after this, if the developers have their way. So we are asking, I am personally asking for your critical eye and extensive due diligence on this proposal, as it really seems grossly incompatible to allow such an extensively lighted commercial property to loom over Dove Meadows families.
But you understand we're not voting on this tonight, right?
We're here in force because we are so excited about
And
this.
I applaud that. I truly do, because that's one
Well,
of your
here's the
American
thing,
rights.
If you divide it, then what goes in, if not but for a gas station?
It could be a number of things. It could be
He could have come
anything.
tonight with just a lot split and not shown anything with regards to what's going there.
They could
And
put a
that-
McDonald's there, they could put,
Okay, then I'm opposed to the lot split too.
There,
That's what
makes
you're
sense.
that's,
supposed to be
that's
at.
what you're
There
supposed
you
to
go.
be getting.
I'm opposed to the lot split because I don't like the way it's headed.
Okay.
But please do give it some serious thought, because this is
We are.
really an
We are.
ugly, despicable situation.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Come forward. You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Richard Green, 118 Brookfield Crossing Drive, Lake St. Louis, 63367.
Go ahead, Richard.
I understand this is just a plot vote at this time, but I do want to bring up what was mentioned earlier, and hopefully you folks are aware as well. MoDOT has already acknowledged that Highway N is a high-traffic area, to the point that they're going to put additional lanes in and a light at that crossing already. It's already extremely hazardous, even with the modifications they did a year ago. Any improvement to those lots right at that intersection at this point in time, I think is prohibitive. I mean, from a safety standpoint, any type of construction, any type of addition, until that work is completed and there's adequate traffic flow for that area, is going to put additional hazards in place for all the people coming down Highway N. The peak traffic times for that area are typically between 6:30 in the morning and 9 o'clock, and between 2 in the afternoon and 6 o'clock. And there's hundreds of cars, and even though there's a 600-foot intersection between each curve as you come around the corners there, those cars are spaced typically about 15 feet apart. And trying to stop and start and access people coming in and out is dangerous as it is now. So to do any work at this point in time, whether you do a plot change or do initial leveling or construction, is going to be dangerous to the folks that live in that area. So I just wanted you to be aware.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak? Anyone? No?
Hello.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Nicole Kelling. I live at 54 Wisdom Way, Lake St. Louis, Missouri, 63367. I kind of got the gist here that you just want to stick to the necessary topics of the zoning. I am the corner lot that backs up to Dwello and Highway N. I've been dealing with the county regarding phase 2 or 3 of Dwello expansion. I built there over 10 years ago. It was a farm. Everything around us, it was beautiful, and it's changed. A lot of it is positive, and I hope all the changes around us continue to be positive. I have a lot of concern about. My backyard is going to be this driveway that's going to accommodate these 2 lots that you're discussing. My pool that I go and enjoy my weekends with my kids is going to see people turning into this driveway that's going to accommodate these 2 lots. As of right now, I sit and sip coffee on my deck and watch Dwello Road back up with school buses, people trying to get to school. My kids are late to school because of the traffic situation on Dwello Road and Highway N. Regardless if this is 1 lot or 2 lots, considering multiple situations of businesses being here, the access points that they're trying to access on Dwello Road, it's only going to cause more chaos in that area. The expansion of the road is supposed to be starting. It was supposed to start fall of 2023, according to your guys' highway department. I think one problem at a time. I think acting proactive instead of reactive in this situation would be smart for residents, business, for you guys. I I came out here 10 years ago excited to raise my family, excited to invest in a property, and just the second half of my life, enjoy. And when I saw this, I really got concerned of second guessing our choices here, and I just really hope you take in consideration, we aren't just a house there, we're families, we're people, and we're taxpayers. And I hope you have that consideration, especially considering we're already dealing with a lot with the road expansion and everything else going on right now and all the houses going up, so.
But you are aware that this is already zoned commercial?
And that's one thing I do have a question about.
And they could start building something there today without
Correct.
our approval.
When I built, it wasn't zoned commercial. And if you go on the county website right now, it still says under the owners, it's still agricultural. So I know it's zoned commercial to sell, but if you look under the owner's name right now, if you look on what type of property it is, if you select their name under it, it's still listed as an agricultural property.
On the county, are you talking about the county assessor's website?
Correct, yeah. Anywhere where you go and you can hit the house and it gives the information, who owns it. That information is still listed agricultural. So I'm worried about my property value. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was worried about my property value with the road expansion, and I get it, and it makes sense. We have to accommodate for the people moving out here, the volume, getting people to work on time, kids to school on time. This is not helping anything. I'd like to see something here that's going to help our community grow in a positive way. The sports barn is great. Kids are going there, they're learning how to play sports, they're doing productive things. I don't know what this business is really going to do to make anything productive for us other than profit somebody that doesn't even live in our community. So that's all I have.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Anyone else wishing to speak?
How many homes, Nicole, do you have that information on how many homes are within 500?
Yeah.
Folks, you guys are supposed to be talking to us,
Yeah.
not to each other, okay? Thank you. What's that?
220 homes within.
Yeah, I think there's about 220 homes that are within 600 meters of this proposed site. So there's a lot of people at interest here. Thank you.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, so it's hard to tell. Yeah, for every citizen.
Bear with me for a second here.
I guess it's just wrong. Unless I'm reading it wrong.
Yeah, yeah.
Does anybody know how to
There
focus?
you go.
It's on there.
They'll do it. It's up there now.
Do you know how to lower or zoom in? Does anybody know?
I don't know, we've got this in our pack.
No, but you don't have this. This is something new. How do I zoom into this area?
It doesn't look new to me.
Do you keep going?
You just say, hey, Rob.
There we go. That's fine. Thank you.
You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury.
Yes, I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Thank you very much, members of the commission. Mr. Chairman, my name is Arnie C. A.C. Dinoff, County Public Advocate, mailing address P.O. Box 1535 in O'Fallon. Just want to point out and add some more information to bring to the light of the commissioners. Right here is the subject project that we're talking about. East of Dwello Road would be the city of Lake St. Louis. Across to the south is going to be the city of O'Fallon in this area of newly annexed property in the last year and a half. Right here is Harvest, which you could see the streets are planned out, and that's 1,000 homes. Due south is another 1,000 homes that are slated both in the city of O'Fallon and unincorporated St. Charles County. Also due south on the creek is a Duckett Creek Sanitary District that is now being constructed and will be up and running in about a year and a half to accept approximately over 250,000 additional homes in southwest St. Charles County.
250,000 or 2,500?
250,000 homes.
Okay.
This is phase one of a 5-phase, because I went to the Duckett Creek Sanitary Board, and they have a plan that they can add on more phases.
We're gonna
Right
put
here-
250,000 homes on how many acres?
He's saying that the
No.
sanitary district is being built in order to have a capacity of.
They're building a
Okay.
sewage treatment plant.
Okay. Yeah, I
So
thought you
that
meant,
in the
sorry.
future, they can build that many in that whole area.
okay, I was like, where are they putting these houses?
County's doubling over.
Sorry about it.
I'm like,
It's a-
okay, there's a lot of people sneaking in.
I just thought everybody knew what Duckett Creek is. Duckett Creek is a sanitary sewer district.
Oh, no, I just was,
Yeah.
the way you
No,
worded it was a little confusing.
sorry if
You're
I
okay.
was confusing.
You're
you.
okay.
So you're saying they're adding that much sewer capacity?
Correct. And phase one, it's my understanding, phase one is going to take in over 150,000 homes. That's my understanding from attending the sanitary district board of trustee meetings. Now, on December 7th, the O'Fallon Planning and Zoning Commission meeting met with developers in a comprehensive plan for a PUD, plain unit development of 335 additional residences on this property right here, due west of the barn that is currently constructed on the property that we're talking about. So basically, that's going to add probably over another 1,000 residences if you take 3 people per household. And at that December 7th, 2023 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, the plain unit development was spoken about. You can see it. It's on video archived at thecityofofallon.mo.us, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about and what was discussed. There's a plan for 335 additional residences. A traffic study is currently underway. A fiscal impact analysis was provided and is part of the meeting packet that you also can access. Creek bank setbacks need to be defined. Screening to the lots along Missouri Highway N in the common ground areas need to be landscaped. Also, what was received in your packet was a letter from, or an email from the city of Wentzville, because both at the city of O'Fallon and here, there are questions about the sanitary sewer. As I see, this property at the corner of Dwello, Missouri Highway N, has a choice of sewer service, and that being with the new sanitary plant being constructed, which would fall south, would be Duckett Creek Sanitary District or the city of Wentzville. And Mr. Forbeck, the planning director for the city of Wentzville, sent an email to the county and Mr. Myers on December 12th stating previous pre-annexation agreement for this parcel. Currently, the sanitary sewer on this parcel still belongs to the city of Wentzville. It was discussed at the city of O'Fallon Planning and Zoning Commission meeting, another sewer lateral that is connected to the city of Wentzville, and there's discussions between the city of Wentzville and that developer of vacating that sewer lateral. The recommendation by county staff is not very clear, and I would ask the commission to ask Mr. Myers, the director of planning, to verify whether the staff is recommending approval or denial. Usually it's right out there in black and white. They say approval or denial. In this case, it's not there. And in my reading of staff, it looks like staff is leaving the decision up to the Planning and Zoning Commission. The row right-of-way needs to be dealt with road improvements for both MoDOT, Missouri Department of Highways, and also our county highway department. There needs to be placed a 5-foot sidewalk on both Missouri Highway N and Dwello Road, or in lieu of a 10-foot ADA-compliant shared path trail. The cross-access improvements, I'm asking and recommending to the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting that instead of the rear of the property, that you have the applicant move it to the front of the property as a frontage service road, therefore not impacting the residences with increased traffic, headlights into their back windows, etc. I agree with MoDOT's determination of a right-in, right-out in Missouri N. The water quality needs to meet both the counties and Missouri Department of Natural Resources M4 rules and regulations that was just passed by the county council in the last 6 months. Again, I would recommend and like to see the internal street moved from the rear to the front as not to affect the residents behind me. And I would recommend to the Planning and Zoning Commission denying of any variances. Also, dedication of needed land at no cost to both the county and state citizens needs to be done on Dwello Road for Dwello Road safety improvements and expansion. And of course, there's a plan underway to expand to 5 lanes, Missouri Route Highway N, with those needed improvements. And those shouldn't be at the cost of taxpayers. They should be given up right up front as part of this application to both the Planning and Zoning Commission and the County Council. For those reasons, I'm asking that you deny this variance with a recommendation of denial to the County Council. The internal street, there should basically be, instead of several roads in and out here, there should be one road in and out of this development, and the frontage road should be moved from the rear to the back. There's a lot of other issues that need to be dealt with, either here tonight or with city staff. And this brings up another issue. I would like to see the Planning and Zoning Commission look into entertaining a final plan, start to come before Planning and Zoning Commission meetings for approval, and to hold a public hearing to give guarantees and allow public, to have public hearings before any final plans are approved by the county. We're growing at bounds and leaps. All the cities, Wentzville, O'Fallon, Lake St. Louis, City of Dardenne Prairie, they all have a 3-tiered system. The first planning is zoning, second is preliminary plat, and third is final plan. And we need to make sure that that starts to come before the Planning and Zoning Commission and the council with staff recommendations. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to speak?
Any questions?
No.
Good evening,
You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Amy Sterling, no relation to the builder. I live at 42 Wisdom Way in Lake St. Louis, 63367. I just want to get my voice out there that I do oppose this, as this is my house, this is my backyard, so I oppose the split. And I just want to put that on record for you, please. That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? You've spoke. Anybody? You solemnly swear or affirm that you'll tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth in these proceedings and the pains and penalties of perjury.
I do.
Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Tamara Williamson. I am located at 112 Piety Drive, Lake St. Louis, 63367. I want to talk about this land being split into 2 plots, nothing more. But I really want to touch on the fact that if it's granted to this plot for this potential developer of a convenience store, you talk about tying into our stormwater detention basin. Let's talk about fuel spills. Let's talk about runoff fumes that happen, which is called benzene. That benzene will affect our children, which will cause significant risk of childhood leukemia.
We don't know that's going to be a gas station.
Yeah.
I know, but I want to just address the stormwater detention. Okay, this is the developer at this time that's presenting this to be split. Let me talk about, please, about what health implications that you're going to have affect our children and our subdivision if it ties into our stormwater detention basin. More than 1,500 liters of fuel spills happen in a decade. All of those fumes, by the World Health Organization, benzene is not acceptable in any form for human consumption. Like I said before, it can cause risks of childhood leukemia, air pollutions, cancer, anemia. Those who are increased susceptibility to infection will be highly adverse and low birth rate. As a concerned resident of Dove Meadows, and talking back to the stormwater detention of dividing this plot, if it was granted, which we're not going to allow to begin with, fuel runoff is coming into our neighborhoods, into a stormwater detention basin that I live on, that I see flood every time it rains into Dwello Road. This detention basin cannot handle a convenience store that has multiple restrooms, that has multiple people on site, cleaning of such a large 16,000 square foot retail center and convenience store. we cannot have this plot split like this. We understand that this is going to be developed at some point. We're asking it to be looked at from our perspective, that we will be able to have a plot of land for a use that, again, is good for everyone, our environment, our children, and generations to come, and not a convenience store that's gonna impact our lives. Because splitting into two right now and having someone tie into our stormwater detention will affect us for years to come.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? You have anything, sir, you going to speak, or you just getting up? She covered. You have anything new? Okay, we'll let you come back. You're already sworn in, go ahead.
They'll bring it up for you. There you go.
Okay. You guys said you didn't know if it was going to be a gas station? Yes, it is. I've had the plans right here from Sterling. Right here is where the canopy goes.
Yeah.
Right
We know that. We know that.
We're not approving that.
We're not
We're
voting
not
on
proving
that.
that.
We're just
Right, but the
voting.
whole purpose of splitting these into two
They could
lots
split it and
is
change
to
our mind.
actualize this plan right here. The whole reason Sterling's attorney
Ma'am.
is here.
Julie,
He's not an attorney, okay?
He's-
Well,
yeah.
They could build a service, a gas station, convenience store, we even call it on the 5 acres if they wanted
Right
to.
now.
Right now.
And nothing
And
anybody
nothing
can
can
do to
stop them, okay? They would have to meet the standards of the water quality, where they might have to find a way to not utilize your detention basin. But if they could do that, okay, they could start construction tomorrow.
Was it not said that there's no guarantee it's going to be a gas station? Was that not said here tonight?
No, it could.
There's
I'm
no
telling you,
guarantee
well,
until they open it up
don't
as a
know.
gas station.
There's no guarantee. There's a plan.
So,
And to ignore that is not doing your due diligence.
we can ignore it or we can accept it. We have no say over
The
that
whole
tonight.
purpose of
So-
splitting this into two plots is to actualize this agenda here on this page. To ignore that is not reasonable. It is not.
we're not ignoring it.
Yeah.
Please consider the facts. Do not ignore them. It is not a hypothetical. Thank you.
Anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, seeing no one, we will close the public hearing for application PRE 23-11. Ask the applicant to come back. Anyone have any questions for the applicant?
Yes. So one of my concerns is the two entrance and exits off of Dwello, and why not keep two off of N? I understand some of the traffic issues on N, but then the plan, the way I see it, concerns is a lot of cut-throughs, people just driving through all the time just to drive through and come around there, so that traffic, and then the traffic, I kind of agree with Arnie's point of having maybe that cut through to the front, the full access to the front, and doing something that way to prevent some of that light pollution on the back end of that property. That's a concern for me, is having both of those off of Dwello instead of having two off of N that can go. So was there a reason why? I mean, other than I know N's so much traffic already.
As far as relocating that to the front, a lot, like I mentioned earlier on, we met with staff, both planning staff and with the highway department. We've also had conversation, a scoping meeting with MoDOT, and this is the result of those meetings that we had with highway, was to look at a facility that would have access such as this, so that number one is to move the bidirectional access as far to the north as possible, because at the Dwello intersection with Highway N, there's going to be a left turn lanes there, so there's going to be left turn stacking, and that's the reason why this southern entrance is a right in, right only, because you're going to have stacking for the left turn lane going onto Highway N. So this was a result of the meetings that we had with Highway Department, saying that they wanted an entrance moved as far to the north as possible.
Okay?
And that's the reason why we have the entrance located where it's at.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question? No, sir. Public hearing is closed. I'm sorry. Any other questions for the applicant?
What will you do, Robert, does the subdivision have the right to say you cannot use our storm detention, or has that already been written somewhere that they have to, or?
It all depends on how the legal documentation was written, recorded in 2008, I believe it would have been, or actually, it would have been before that, I'm sorry. I could probably find the exact date, but that's what it boils down to.
If I could point out one thing is there already is existing storm sewers that are located on this property. They were strategically located on the property for its future development and use for the stormwater detention. The only thing that we don't have right now that we'll be working with staff is that was developed under the old criteria. We'll be looking at moving forward, seeing what needs to be done to bring that detention up to current staff, our current ordinance as far as stormwater detention.
Okay.
Any other questions for the applicant? Seeing none? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll bring PRE 23-. Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting there. Okay. No, we're going to vote. Bring PRE 23-11 back to the commission for consideration. Anyone have any questions for staff?
I do, actually. Robert, one of the ladies brought up that on the public GIS map, that it appears to her that this is zoned agricultural. So I went ahead and looked it up on the public GIS map, and I would ask you to clarify, because it is certainly, I could see that it would be confusing the way that it is on this map. So I don't know if you were able to bring it up, because I'm looking at it right here, and it says property type is vacant agricultural, and the property category is agricultural. So if you could explain if that's a mistake, or if maybe that there's some other place where we need to look to find that zoning?
Well, there's two factors for the zoning map. You turn on the layer, which is the colored layer that shows all the colors. That's the actual zoning
I'm
regulations.
sorry, what did you call it?
The colors.
The colors.
Yeah, it's called the zoning layer.
So I have it on planning and zoning, and then zoning information. I see, I just clicked on the major
Yeah, if
one.
you-
I see how it says C2 now, yeah.
Yeah, it's colored in red, and which is C2, general
Does say that, yeah.
commercial district. Now, I think what the person was referring to, when you click on it, look at the property information, it includes information from the assessor's office. And as I understand it, they may or may not assess it for commercial. They base it on the land use. So if it's been used for, here's an example. There's times when someone has a farm, they plant corn on it, but it's been zoned for industrial for years and years and years. I mean, we have that situation all over the county. And so according to the tax records, will show that the land use is agricultural, but the zoning is industrial.
Okay. So we've been saying over and over again tonight that this already being zone C2, that what we're voting on tonight is splitting it into two lots. And that even if it's denied tonight, that the owner of this lot could choose to build a service station or a convenience store as it is now on the single lot. And whether or not it's divided or not, they're going to, in order to have to build something, they're going to have to come to you guys as staff. They're going to have their plans approved. Their plans are going to have to meet all the rules and the qualifications and the buffers and the stormwater quality and all of those different things from all of the different, Missouri Department of Natural Resources and Transportation, all the different places in order to go through. And then after that, my understanding is that it does not come back before us, but that it does go back before the county council. Is that correct?
If the plat, a couple of things. First, the subdivision regulations, when subdivision plats meet those regulations to a T, there's really pretty much an obligation in order to approve that plat.
Okay.
So in this case, in county staff's view, it meets the subdivision regulations to a T, except for the requirement to build an internal street. And so that's a discretionary area where you could say, Is there justification for not building an internal street or not? That's one factor. So whatever your recommendation is tonight, it's going to go to the county council, the plat, for the preliminary plat. Let's just say for argument's sake that it's approved by the county council. They still have to come back to county staff for a final plat. If it's in conformance with the preliminary plat, they'll have to be put in certain improvements. That plat gets recorded and is then official, and then those lots can be sold perhaps. And then after that, they can apply for site plan approval. That goes to county staff. It's got to meet all kinds of requirements, including screening. But I would say it's really interesting what was presented tonight in terms of a canopy for a gas station, and the fact that it's up higher, and the fact that those canisters, those light canisters underneath that canopy, that is an interesting point. But I would say, again, they could build a gas station right now, someone could. I mean, there's no requirement to subdivide this property in order to build a gas station.
However, they would have to meet the requirements for light pollution and other things that we often see in front of us.
Right, yeah.
So if they had too much light pollution, that would not meet the requirements.
Right, there's a requirement that to provide a lighting plan as part of the site plan approval, and there's a certain level of maximum light at the property line it's got to meet. So that's one factor.
Okay. And then as far as the internal street, is there even a possibility that they even could meet that requirement? Is this piece of land, set out in such a way that it would even be possible to build an internal street? Because it sounded like it was
That's the
not.
two lots being connected. So you can drive from one lot to the
Well,
other.
then why do we need a variance?
Because it's supposed to be a front yard, right?
It's supposed to come from the subdivision street, right?
Right, how the subdivision regulations work, the lots are all supposed to take driveway access off of a street. And so in this case, they're not proposing to take it from the street, but instead have driveways, driveways going out to the adjoining roadways.
So in what way could they actually meet, if we did not grant a variance, how could they actually meet that? Would they have to build a street going in and then come off of it?
They
or-
probably would just have to develop it as one lot, most likely. I mean, there might be a way to build a subdivision street, but the lots then are going to be so small, and it's going to push the buildings back, towards the back, I think, closer to the back property line, but there is that drop
So it would
off on
actually
the
make
other
it
hand.
worse,
So I
yeah.
think they would, if they didn't get approval for two lots, they would probably just build on one lot, is what I'm thinking.
Any other questions for staff?
Could they build two buildings on the one lot without dividing it? Do they have to have
Yeah.
any special permit? So they could still do this without dividing the property?
Yes, it would still all be under one ownership, but yeah, you
Right.
could build
So
two
the
commercial
difference is that they
buildings
could
on.
sell it to two people if you subdivided it versus
Right.
they could still build this exact plat right
Right.
now, except that it would all have to belong to one person instead of being divided into being sold to the gas station owner and
I
then
think
the
so.
retail store owner.
Chad's probably got a lot more experience with this than I do. I'm thinking, since you
Oh, boy.
deal with commercial properties all the time, that
No, I mean, you could build two buildings commercially zoned if it's allowed by the zoning code. I mean, usually you can't do that with residential property, but you can with commercial. But a lot of times they subdivide it, even if they don't sell it, because of CAM and things of that nature, where they're looking at real estate taxes and maintenance and things of that
Can you
nature.
explain what you mean by CAM? I'm sorry.
So, oh boy, one-on-one here. No, I'm joking. Let's see if I can do it. So basically, all the way they had the leases set up, ground leases and things of that nature, there's money set aside for improvements for stormwater detention, maintenance of access roads and stuff like that. So to make it easier, a lot of times they'll subdivide the property, but not actually sell that to a property owner.
That way they can know, this much money is for this one and this much money is for this one.
Yeah, it's
right?
just easier on it.
So this is really all just a technicality, because they could all already do all
They
this.
could build it now. I think, Robert, I guess the question I had, I mean, it's just like working prior life in O'Fallon, they wouldn't have required that because they have commercial subdivisions that wouldn't follow the residential dedicated roads like we have in the county. So it sounds like that's kind of where this variance is headed, right? Like, are we needing the variance to allow that? Because you
Yes.
see a lot of commercial development where there's not a public street dedicated.
Right.
It's more residential, but being the county is more rural, you probably haven't had a lot of commercial subdivisions, or am I speaking out of turn?
No, you're right. I mean,
So-
the subdivision regulations requires for every subdivision, whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, it has to be served, all driveways have to take access from an internal subdivision street. But a lot of commercial subdivisions, they may not have any internal street. You look at a shopping center, you know, you look at an old-fashioned mall, for instance, they may have an access drive around, but it's not a street technically.
Right,
It's
I
all
mean,
one
there's not
parcel.
really any driveways per se either. I mean, a driveway would be for like a residential property. Where would your driveway be for a gas station? I mean, the whole thing is street.
Could you vote to split but not approve the variance?
Well, they're requesting a variance, and they're not building an internal subdivision street, so without the variance, it doesn't meet the technical requirements of the Unified Development Ordinance.
But Robert, I think the cross-access is essentially functioning like you would have another street. Essentially, it's just being maintained by the sellers at that point, and it's giving access to that, and the maintenance is being figured out.
As long as it would be approved by the county council with conditions, and the conditions recommended by our engineering staff is on page, what is that? 1, 2, the bottom page 2. Cross-access easements would be required along the driving lanes connecting the entrance on Highway N to both entrances on Duello Road. Cross-access easements shall be at least as wide as the pavement width, including any curb. The cross-access pavement would be a minimum of 24 feet wide, 26 feet with curb and gutter, and meet the paving specifications, et cetera.
So essentially, they're building a high-quality access drive that would be like a street, but they're on the ownership of maintaining it. So I don't think the county, and if I'm out of turn here, Robert, let me know, but I don't think the county would want to maintain a commercial street. That just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, we're not going to maintain a driveway on private property, and we wouldn't want to maintain a street that just serves one parcel, really.
Okay. So I do want to just point out, I'm noticing here, and we talked about this a couple times, but, so if we approve this here tonight, the plat still has to be approved through the staff. And it says here that written permission must be obtained from the homeowner association for the stormwater connection to this private storm sewer as a prerequisite for county staff approval of the plat. So even if we approve this here today, there's no guarantee that the county staff is going to approve the plat unless they're able to come to some kind of an agreement with the homeowner association. Is that correct?
Unless
Well,
it's already recorded.
Yeah, that's a civil matter.
Right, that's a totally separate matter, but
It's,
you are going to require that happen before you
Yes.
approve the plat.
yeah, it's standard that we receive written confirmation that other jurisdictions, other services that they're using is going to serve the property. For instance, we'll require written confirmation from the city of Wentzville for the sewer, from the homeowners association for stormwater to connect the pipes, and others as well. And MoDOT, we'll require, written confirmation from MoDOT that they're okay with the design of the driveway entrances.
But whether they can connect to the detention pond in this subdivision is a civil matter. It depends
Well,
on
sure.
what's on.
What's already there.
What's been recorded.
Well,
Right.
Mr. Faulkner,
But I'm just saying
Mr. Faulkner showed was the storm sewers in the subdivision and the detention basin were all designed for this property being developed. It's already there. With the same amount of impervious area, whether it's a gas station, a parking lot.
A gas station, you have to
Sir,
somehow neutralize, you have to neutralize the gas.
Sir,
Please, we're having that discussion.
I'm talking about the rainfall runoff is all the same, whether it's a
but
solid
that's-
parking lot or as a canopy in a parking lot or all canopy and little
But that
parking
doesn't have
lot.
anything to do with us.
No.
That's a separate issue. And
Yeah,
that's kind
it's
of my point, is that is that what we do here today does not by any means guarantee that this project is gonna go through. There are many other
Right.
hoops for them to jump through before they
think
would
we've
be
been
able to
saying
build
that
this.
tonight.
We've been saying that for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, I just wanted to make it clear again that there's a lot of other things they have to do before they can just build this, you
and
know?
to your point, for instance, if the plat is approved by the county, it doesn't tie the hands of MoDOT to approve that entrance. MoDOT can say, nope, we have our own, standards and requirements, we're not gonna approve it, even if we approve the plat. And honestly, it's the same thing with the tying into the storm system.
the variance.
And other, tying into City of Wentzville. City of
So we're
Wentzville could-
basically just saying, A, are we gonna allow you to sell this as two separate lots instead of one lot? And B, are we gonna allow you to have a street that you maintain as opposed to a street that the county maintains, which is the difference between a subdivision internal street and this private drive?
Right. That's
So
what
we're gonna let them pay for their own street if we approve this versus saying, no, you have to have a street that the county pays for.
Yes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for staff?
Just put me on the spot on cam. I had to think through that for a little bit, so.
Any more comments, questions, concerns? Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the preliminary plat for the re-subdivision of Lot 2 of LMC subdivision to include the variance set forth by staff in the staff report. This is a variance from section 410.280.8.2 with the requirements as set forth in the staff report.
Moved.
Ms. Barr made the motion. Is there a second? Mr. Shell made the second. Ms. Bamer, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mr. Fromm?
No.
No. Ms. Kirchner?
Yes.
Mr. Shell?
Yes.
Ms. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Cornwell?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The preliminary plat is approved.
Can you tell them when the county council meeting is, please?
January the
8th.
This will be on the agenda for the county council on Monday, January the 8th.
Where is that located?
Right here.
Same time?
What time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is tabled or continued items. Conditional use permit located at 2440 South Highway 94, CUP 23-22 is continued. Zoning map request at 24 Main Street, RZ 23-05, and conditional use permit amendment request at 24 Main Street, CUP 23-04 is continued. And the preliminary plat for Tall Tree, located at 9260 and 10102 Highway Double D, it's PRE 23-02, is continued. Next item on the agenda is approval of the October 18th, 2023 meeting minutes. Are there any additions, deletions, or corrections to those minutes?
Move to
Hearing
approve.
none, Chair will entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded to approve our October meeting minutes. All in favor, sign aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. Planning and zoning updates.
At the county council meeting on Monday night, the master plan steering committee was appointed. I think there are 16 members total. So we are moving forward with updating the master plan over the coming year.
Where are we at on the UDO being looked at and updated?
We have drafted a request for proposals that we expect to be released within any day now. And we will be inviting consultants to submit proposals to both lead the master plan process, to update the master plan, and to update the Unified Development Ordinance. So the Unified Development Ordinance would come ideally after the master plan, because then that way you can revise revise the regulations to meet the master plan's goals.
Okay. Any other questions for staff? Hearing none. Motion to adjourn. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Is there a second? All in favor, sign aye. Aye. We're adjourned.
Alrighty.